I've been to lots of parties. I've been to Jamie Foxx. I've been with Snoop, T.I. Like, I've been to lots of places. Because how you gonna be a light if you never in the dark? Now, if you cannot handle being in the dark, stay up out of certain places. And a whole bunch of ladies start walking in that cabana, and a security guard stood in front of the door. Hey, they didn't coerce me.
Party people always have something interesting to tell. Before we get into the video, do you know demons party with humans? Yeah, they feast on human flesh as a form of ritual. That's how they excel in strength. And this occultist who used to shop from me 11 years ago made me aware. Lust activists, they sell lust on social media and on bigger TV platforms, and that's how they get you to open your homes to the devil. Nudity, porn, and profane songs, as it stood before, were leading. Yeah, that was just by the way. LECRAE, the legendary Hollywood party bomber, shares his experience on how things go down at certain Hollywood parties. His reason for being at those parties wouldn't be my focus. I would only like to stress on certain points he made, which I know would be of great help to most Christians who struggle to be Christians. Let's watch.
I wasn't even gonna say nothing about this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I've been to a couple Diddy parties. Now, I'm risking a lot by saying this because I know as soon as I say that, all the assumptions are gonna come in, and if I don't say evil things were taking place, then I'm covering for them. And if I do say evil things were taking place, then I'm one of them ones like, yeah, LECRAE, expose it. You know what I'm saying? And I've been to lots of parties. I've been to Jamie Foxx. I've been with Snoop, T.I. Like, I've been to lots of places. There are people who will test you. There are people who will see how far your limits are. And if you're willing to take a step, then they'll take two. I, in my personal experience, never saw anything where someone was like, you can't move any further unless you do X, Y, or Z. But what I did see was, if you do X, Y, or Z, well, keep coming, because you know, and that's how we all are. It's Psalm 1, right? It says, blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, who does not stand in the way of sinners, who does not sit in the seat of mockers. You start walking, they gonna walk with you, and now you find yourself standing. They like, oh, you stand? Well, if you stand, come sit. Now, next thing you know, you're sitting.
Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, who does not stand with sinners, who does not sit with the scornful, but rather his delight is in God's law and meditates on them. To move from darkness to light is hard, especially when you got no one to guide you through. You move in and out of light like a Christmas light plug being flickered by a baby demon. I was once lost too. Even when I got saved, I was still lost until somebody found me and began to teach and direct me. And so I understand the struggle of navigating between the company of ungodly and the desire to resist it. Life is less physical but more spiritual. I applaud LECRAE for the type of songs he's produced over the years. When I made the decision to deepen my relationship with God, I encountered a significant challenge, which was worldly music. It was tough for me to listen to songs that glorified God. My phone was just filled with loads of inappropriate songs, profane lyrics, curses, explicit content, little kids rapping about sex, gang shooting, and all that. That I would say was one or amongst my most difficult or toughest spiritual opponent. Worldly songs, I would say, still got some good creative beats though. Sometimes I wonder why Christian hip-hop artists can't be that creative with their beats, but anyways. One Bible verse that delivered me completely from worldly songs was Proverbs 23:7. Whatsoever a man thinketh, so shall he become. This verse led me to James 3:2, which states, indeed we all make mistakes, for if we could control our tongues, we will be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way. The small rudder causes the huge ship to turn even when the wind is strong. In the same way, your tiny tongue can spark a great forest of fire. The same way it can set your whole body on fire. You should read the whole verse. I just had to cut it short for the sake of the video. And also Matthew 12:36-37, and you shall give account on judgment day for every idle word that comes out of your mouth. That is why paying attention to music lyrics is very important, because you might never know. Maybe you are raining curses on God. There is this verse in Isaiah I've forgotten, but it goes something like this. Do not use unwholesome idle words and later say, I didn't say that intentionally, for every word you speak are being recorded by angels. Something like that. Yeah, you can quote me correctly with the Bible verses in the comment section below if you know that verse. Also, there are tons of Bible verses that tow along this line. You can drop a couple of them in the comment section below if you got any. Probably if you can regulate what you hear, watch and say, the act of lust will leave you, because that's what's promoted all over the place. And so it's not entirely your fault that you've been caught up in it, but now you know better. It's not evil for you to disassociate yourself from ungodly men. It's actually wise. If you know you used to smoke but now a changed man for Christ, you have no business working with unchanged smoking men, right? It's for your own well-being. Hanging around your past may tempt you to revert to old habits. This isn't to say that you shouldn't share the good news with smokers or others struggling with sin, but you need to be more cautious. Personally, I think it's advisable to entrust the task of reaching out to your former smoking friends to others who can't be lured with that form of temptation. After all, it's your weakest spot and you shouldn't take chances. This principle applies to anyone struggling with any form of sin. Could be fornication, theft, homosexuality, corrupt leadership, etc. It's essential to guard yourself and be mindful of the influences around you. Fight your own salvation with fear and trembling. That's what the Bible makes us know.
And so it was never a situation where I felt forced to sit. It was a situations where I was asked, do you stand? Do you stand? And I'm like, I don't stand. Oh, okay, cool. And then I was left alone. It's like, oh, he's not about that life. He's not with it. I'm leaving him alone. And this is what I'll say, and I won't say whose party I was at or what party, but this is a crazy situation, right? I was at one of these parties, and for me, I'll be honest, it was a mix of work, because this is oftentimes where you go to connect with people, where you go to meet people. And I have met people here and I have built bonds, and they have said, I have met actors and celebrities who said, man, thank you for being here. I needed your presence here. You're the reason why I know God is walking with me. And we've had conversations since where they're like, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Because how you going to be a light if you never in the dark? Now, if you cannot handle being in the dark, stay up out of certain places, right? Don't play tug of war by yourself. I never went to these events by myself. I was always with people who were walking in the light, and we always had a mission. It was never just to go in there and wild out and be stupid.
If you can't be in the dark, stay above certain places. Now, this is entirely false. Did Jesus ever say, go back into the dark when you get stronger in the Lord? No. But I recall Jesus in Matthew 5:16 saying, let your light so shine. Right? Which means that light and darkness have nothing in common. Light never walks in the dark. When light shows up, darkness disappears. Now, that's power. That's power. That's the power of God, and every believer has it, so I wouldn't stress on it. I get that some people enter into certain places to share the gospel and then they are out. Yeah, they shine there, plant seeds, and leave. Darkness is not a playground to mingle with because you want to sustain your friends, probably get some contacts, some exposure, and maintain your fame. That would be you selling out, right? Selling out your faith for a couple of fame, chicken change. No wonder LECRAE has become that lukewarm. Yeah, I've watched a couple of his interviews and it's clear where the effect is from. Dude can't stand entirely for God even on minor questions because he's scared his unbelieving peers might cancel or disassociate themselves from him, and for that reason he always compromises his faith so that he could be balanced biblically, politically, and culturally. That boldness to stand for God is gone, and I'm not sure if he realizes it. Walking in the dark, like he said, is slowly quenching his light. Just listen to him. He says if you can't handle the dark, then don't go in the dark. Now, that's not how the Bible defines toughness. For the fornicator, to flee means you are tough. If you don't study the Bible for yourself, you might end up wallowing in the culture without knowing you are far from God. Let the Bible mentor you, not some kind of rich folk or some bunch of naked celebrity.
But the other side of the coin is, yes, if I'm a human, so I'm frail. I'm gonna be honest with you. There was moments for me of like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I'm part of the crew. Like, look at me. Yes, I struggle with acceptance and wanting to be associated with greatness. And I got caught up in some of that nonsense internally, but you would have never known that. What I will say is that one particular party, lots of big names. There was an artist there who said, hey, LECRAE, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here. And I was like, what? You just don't want to be here at 1 in the morning. And I was like, now my pride kicked in like, yo, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle myself. Like, I'm not some little church boy who ain't never seen nothing. Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about? Well, it's probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. I go downstairs to the studio. I come up out the studio and I'm headed back upstairs to like the main area where everyone's kind of congregating and hanging out. And the music changed. It was like really hard and heavy at first. And then, you know, like jam and dancing music. And it was a little softer. You know, it was a little more sensual when I came out the studio, started going upstairs. And on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. I won't say how the couch is designed because then that may give away whose party and whose house this was. There was a couch, and on the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it hard and heavy. And man, and I was like, oh, you know, my brain, I'm thinking, well, you know, the celebrity party, people do what they do. As I started moving upstairs, I passed them up and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys. It was more and more people just going at it. I was like, okay, it's time for me to roll. I'm going to grab my stuff and I'm going to get up out of here. I did not know that's how this went down. So was that shocking? Absolutely. Was I forced or coerced into anything? I was not. But why they felt that comfortable, I don't know. Maybe the invite list, they was like, yeah, all these people, I don't know. I'm shocked that it went down. But I've been to another situation, another person's party, celebrity party, and, you know, a celebrity tapped me on my shoulder and I was hanging out with them and it was like, yo, nephew, you might want to go into the other party because this cabana, we about to close it up. And they closed up the cabana and there was about 3 or 4 big name artists in there. And a whole bunch of ladies start walking in that cabana and a security guard stood in front of the door. Hey, they didn't coerce me. And shout out to my guy, Brandon T. Jackson, man. Brandon T. Jackson, you know, I don't know what he's up to these days, but at this particular party, Brandon T. came up to me and he said, yo, man, like Satan will steal your soul in this industry, bro. And he was really like, I loved the fact that he felt like He's like, I love your soul and your spirit, and I want you to thrive, Cray. I don't want you to get devoured out here. And I just appreciated that, because for him, he was like, he has seen some detriments and some of the dark side of things. And he was like, yo, I want you to be taken care of.
The world knows who you are, and they respect and most likely will protect you for that. They might not even be aware of it, but it does happen, where unbelievers would want you out of the evil they do before they engage in that evil. Most of you Christians watching me might have been a great blessing to some of your unbelieving friends, but they might never tell you. That is why, to be on the safer side, you don't try to be like them. Most unbelievers count on believers to give them good counsel. I tell you what, most Christians are too emotional. Even when the world ejects them for who they are, they can't seem to acknowledge the fact that God is delivering them from sin. They get disappointed and still want in, which is very sad. When people miss the awareness of God delivering them from evil through ejection and rejection, let me give you a typical example. Your smoking friends come around to smoke, and for some reason they want you out before they smoke. The question is, why don't they want you around whilst they're smoking? Or why don't they offer you a joint, or however that they would call it? And that moment, there you are, all emotional about the situation. Some even conclude their worldly friends don't really like them because they don't involve them in their deeds. Truth is, they know you wouldn't be a fit for their deeds. That's why they keep ignoring you when you choose, or at that particular moment when you choose to follow Christ. Stop pushing for that friendship. According to what the party bomber said, they wanted him out, but he was wondering why they wanted him out. He claimed he could handle himself because he was a big boy. In Christianity, acting tough is childish and weak. The strong flee from temptation. The strong stand for good. The strong stand for the godly influence in society. The strong love the Lord and wouldn't trade their faith for politics or culture or fame. Today many people want to be politically and culturally accepted, so they use so many tactics to offload God's counsel and then later hit you with Jesus loves and commands us not to judge. We've become so lukewarm, the devil is even shocked at this moment, because he is not even like that. He stands for evil, and evil he will do to the end. We claim to stand for good, but we love evil. In the name of God is good and loving, so he would forgive me. It's true, God would forgive you. That's true. Instead of fighting to stand in the way of sinners, rather use that energy to pray for them, because prayer works. I think this is where I would end the video. I would like you to go through your music playlist and see if it's something that glorifies God. If it doesn't, it has no purpose or reason to be on your phone. Okay, if you are a hip-hop lover and for some reason you can't seem to find good Christian songs to listen to, I would like you to check out this channel on YouTube. I will try to see if I could share the link also in my comment section, and you could listen to a couple of good Christian songs from my church. Yeah, until my next video, peace out.